Up way too much today for something that does that work? For something that, I've been working on for literally a year. So I'll give you a little intro into this. A year ago, roughly, early January, I was going through a crisis that started in August. And one day, this little voice in my head was like, turn on some Jesus music. I hate Jesus music. I hated it. I loved our hymns, but anything modern, Mercy Me, Austin French, whatever, I was like, what is this garbage? And then I started listening to it. And then I realized the purpose. And then I can't stop. It's really terrible now. I can't stop listening to it, which inspired this message because I attribute music to pulling me out of one of the darkest depressions I've ever had. So today we're going to talk about music in the Bible and the impact that it has on you through your mind, body, and ultimately your spirit. So, and this is a Bible study in its truest sense. We're going to talk a little Bible, but we're also going to use some outside resources. So, just be aware it's not all Bible all the time. Oops. Okay. First, we're going to chat. What is the significance of music in the Bible? This is a question I want you to ask yourself the whole time we're sitting here today. Okay? This question has to be on your mind because why else are we here? I wanted to share my exploration on the significance of music in the Bible because once I saw it turn my life around and when I saw it turn my attitude around, I knew there was a purpose and I wanted to know what it was. So we're actually going to start by reading through some Bible verses that pertain to music to get an idea of biblical context. These verses are just a small sampling of musical references in God's Word. So, and they'll also be displayed on your screen. So if you want to use your Bibles, you can. If you don't, they're up here. And there are quite a number. So if we want to have some reading, I'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. So I'll start. Come, let us sing for joy in the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. And that is Psalm 95:1. And we are purely just reading through these. Someone want to take this one? Okay.
And they sang a new song, saying, worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals, for you were slain, and by your blood you ransomed people for God from every tribe and nation, from every tribe and language and people and nation. Revelation 5.
Okay.
Is anyone among you suffering? Let him pray. Is anyone cheerful? Let him sing praise.
Right. This is where you stole my material, Dad. Jordan.
Yeah. Sure. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Mark 14:26. What was the last one? I'm just trying to remember.
It was, yes. Okay. Anybody? Okay.
Says, take away from me the noise of your song, the melody of your harps.
This was in regards to the people not listening.
Where else do you see
that? Not listening, or
God's saying he's not going to listen. Usually when Israel is making some terrible mistakes, he rejects all of them.
Pretty much all of the minor prophets and major prophets.
He's not listening to their prayers, honor their Sabbaths, or holy days, right? He's shutting them down.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing they can do at that point is going to appease them unless they turn their heart.
Mm-hmm. And this should be the last one.
Oh,
Okay.
and it was the duty of the trumpeters and singers to make themselves heard in unison in praise and thanksgiving to the Lord.
And that's 1 Chronicles 5:13a. There's a part B to that verse. I might have lied. There's one more. My apologies. I can read this one. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. And that's Colossians 3:16. Okay, so I have provided you guys absolutely no context with that. Absolutely no context. And you're not going to get it for a while. So ultimately, there are 1,150 verses in the Bible that reference music in some form, whether that's the word song, the word hymn, psalm. So those are all kind of like wrapped up. The word music itself. To me, this means music has to be important, as God would not include it otherwise. I mean, that's a significant amount of times. In fact, music has played a major part in the human story since the beginning. Every nation and people have music that reference their stories, their culture, and their history. But before we dive too deeply into the Bible, let's take a look at how music affects you, God's creation. Because when you look at how music affects you, it enlightens how the impact of the Bible. Okay, so we'll be covering 4 things today. This is not a comprehensive list. I'm going to tell you that now. I don't cover every aspect of every part in here either, but to me, these are the 4 big ways that music will impact you. So, impacts your mood, memory, body, and behavior. And these are some of the most significant, but also the most measurable, because I don't believe in just it leads you somewhere. Like the ways that impacts you in your mood, memory, body, and behavior can actually be scientifically proven. And we will dive deeper into each of these. So first, music and your mood. Music can affect your mood and emotions in many ways, as music has a significant impact on your brain's chemistry. This is very individualized to each person, as your brain associates emotion with cultural references and prior experiences. If you would like to change your mood, start listening to a song that matches your current mood, and then switch the song up to a mood that you desire. According to the ISO principle of music, you should start experiencing the mood you desire due to that influence. So if you're sad and you want to be happy, you start listening to a song that you consider sad. It has to be something you consider sad, because what I consider sad and you consider sad are way 2 different things when it comes to music. And then you slowly introduce happier songs until your playlist is fully happy. It will change your mood.
So you can't just go sad to get happy?
Mm-mm.
It's like one step 2.
No.
Be slow about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like all sad, mix, then happy.
Oh,
Okay? Actively making music can also positively affect your brain's neurotransmitters and influence your mood. Making music in a group can help you feel connected due to the production of oxytocin and synchronized breathing patterns to promote relaxation through the release of cortisol. So that's one way, as a group, it affects us.
Like when we sing together.
Every week.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so music can also affect your memory. So as music memory is stored in the hippocampus, which is literally located at the very center of your brain, it is less likely to be influenced or destroyed by age or disease such as dementia. Music can also promote memorization, recall, and learning for the same reason. The music memory is stored at the core and it cannot be forgotten, which is why you can hear a song that you heard 50 years ago and still remember the words.
And like this time of year, you can't get that song out of your head, just like you said.
So where are the rest of your members stored? Not in the center?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I know that my father-in-law and mother-in-law who work at the nursing home, the local nursing home, they work there's a dementia work there. One of the things that they've said in the past is one of the things they go and they try to give a little message, but one of the things that the people do they respond very well to hymns.
Mm-hmm.
Play hymn and they'll all kind of get going on.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it. You weren't with us at the feast, and I don't know how much you guys were aware of how excited Anna was, but he was hearing pieces that he had not heard since his grandfather translated them from English to Hindi, and his grandfather had a beautiful voice, and he would go from church to church to church singing all those hymns that were being sung. So some of those hymns, and he remembered all the words. He had tears running down his face.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So music and your body. Music can also directly influence your body through your heart rate and blood pressure. So if you listen to a fast-paced song, your heart rate and your blood pressure will be higher. If you listen to a slow-paced song, it will relax and it will be slower. If music is used in a therapeutic method with a licensed music therapist, it can also generate a sense of well-being, which can change your entire body or influence pain levels. And there are several studies out there right now that are showing that the listening to music with the use of a music therapist can help improve pain without drugs. So that's interesting to me. And then finally, music and your behavior. Music influences your behavior through your doing. You can use music to motivate yourself. If you ever just throw on a playlist and clean your whole house, you can use it as a motivator. You can also use it as a timer. So one of the things that I do at work is I put on a playlist that is specifically an hour long. And I listen to that playlist on shuffle knowing it's an hour so that I'm focused working for an hour. Stores and retail places also use music to influence customer purchasing patterns across a wide variety of ages. Music is used for recognition of brands and advertisements to create a positive or memorable reaction to consumers. Whole studies are dedicated to influencing marketing through music in order to grow or maintain a customer base. Studies even indicate workers in a retail platform perform better when exposed to different genres and selections of music rather than listening to the same tracks all day long. Yeah.
There was so you just made me think of the O'Reilly's theme song. I was talking to my friend Jeremy and his fiance, whatever. And we just randomly brought up O'Reilly's, but
Not
it's
on my
like
phone.
O'Reilly's. It's like so.
It's classic, right?
It's just such a classic, catchy. It just stays in your mind. It just reminds you. It's a good, positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stay right?
Yes.
Everybody knows that one.
And one of the studies that I actually read was that older people will shop more when exposed to hard rock.
Oh.
And I was completely floored by that. I was like, that is not right. And then,
You gotta keep me out the stores, man.
and then,
Huh?
maybe.
Like hard rock.
She said it all right.
And then the opposite was true. Young people, and that's specifically people between the ages of 16 and like 27, want instrumental music when they're shopping because they find music distracting.
I mean,
I don't know. This is just studies that are coming out of various places.
I don't like the Christmas music that's playing in Walmart right now. So
No one likes the Christmas music that's playing in Walmart right now.
it's really
I can't
annoying.
hear the Christmas.
I mean, I like
Good
it,
for
but
you.
I feel like that I
Just
don't
turn it
like
down.
You're right.
Well,
I
it's
found
heavily
myself.
based in nostalgia, so it feels so far out.
I found myself singing Santa Baby the other day, and I was like, "How did this happen?"
I know.
Okay, so after looking at an overview of the ways music can affect us, the best way to understand is to test it out. So I'm gonna play several audio clips from my phone.
That was not an otter. That was a sloth.
Oh, well, I'm good. I got set up.
Oh, you got it? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna play several audio clips. I want you to write down any emotions and thoughts that it gives you. After each song, we're actually gonna go around the room, and I want feedback from every song. If you hate it, I will not be offended. Please trust me. Um, um, yeah, emotions or thoughts and phrases that come to your mind when you're listening. And when we go around the room, if you wouldn't mind keeping your feedback till short-esque, because there's a lot of us, and I have about 5 songs I want to play, so. Okay. So first of all, can anybody find the theme in all of the music I just played for you? Nope. Every single one of them mentions Jesus or spirit or heaven or something. Every single one of them. Which tells you how much of a variety of Christian music there is out there in different ways. And I'm sorry if I offended your ears in some way. Okay, so that first song, it was Spirits Will Collide by Devin Townsend. Dad could tell you so much about that band. He introduced me to it. It's basically a guy completely digitally rendering all the music he creates. The music video has elephants playing the drums and giraffes, and there's lions, and they're in space.
Literally an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
If you see the video, it's about the whole world coming together to celebrate as one.
Yeah.
Really, really well done.
Yeah, that one always makes me picture the end times.
Yeah, it's got an end time or kingdom kind of feel.
Yeah.
You see the entire planet is having a good time together.
Yeah. With elephants playing drums. Okay, so the first one, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I thought that one was upbeat, positive. I've never heard it before in my life, so it was familiar to me. I thought when the guy started singing that it kind of turned from a positive upbeat to a little bit wild. And that's all I felt.
Mrs. Manning?
I had upbeat as well, encouraging.
Okay.
I thought the rhythm was kind of, that's a song I could do something to, right?
Right.
Like a productive type. Yeah.
Yeah.
The phrase that came to mind was "glory days," and then when I had the opposite reaction, Dad. When the music started playing, I thought it lost some, like the voices started coming, and I thought it lost a little bit of that. It's just that I like.
Okay.
I'm different.
That's okay.
Velvet was an upbeat song,
Mhm.
and it makes me feel like I wanted to dance or move.
Mhm.
Which Anne was demonstrating.
Yes, that one is on my cleaning playlist.
Epic, like and it's feeling, makes you. It only happens to like a certain number of people when I did a clinical study, but when you listen to certain music, it gives you like your whole body chills.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one does that for me. The first 5 times I ever listened to that song, I cried like a baby, and I couldn't figure out why. Yeah, we can. I can show you the elephants. Jordan, or I'm not Jordan. Jacob. I'm sorry. You're okay.
I wrote joyful and encouraged, and of course it made me think of Steve.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because, he introduces all those pieces to us because he's like the finder of all
Music.
completely weird and never realized anybody would write a piece like that.
Joe, how did you feel?
I wrote encourage.
Okay. Dad?
I wrote unity and collectiveness when Tanks I know the video.
Yeah.
Cheater. No.
Jordan?
It made me feel calm because of the beat. But I get where people are coming from. But yeah, for me, it just, I like the steady beat. I like that, and it made me feel happy when he started singing. Sorry, yeah, it's wild, but I'm a wild person. I don't disagree with you.
The style you have to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I really like the choir, like the back and forth. Yeah, that was nice. I agree with Maddie.
Skip Michael.
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay, so song number 2 was "Hit Me More" by Scott Stapp. Okay.
For me, it was a little funky, and I didn't really like it.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm not a musical person.
That's okay.
Yeah, the words, I didn't hear any words that got in there. The first words, I'm like, oh, wow, this is kind of like down there. I felt a little, like it's just like really heavy. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Okay, Kate, tell me why that's interesting.
Because this is the type of, so when I'm having my best days, like when I feel like the best in my skin or I'm just having a good time, this is the type of song that I would play.
Mhm.
This is like the groovy, like angsty, like we're going, like we're moving and having a good time. Yeah, it's something like that.
Mrs. Edwards.
Wanted to make me move.
Okay, yeah.
You know, don't listen to them songs.
That's-
But it was a good song. You know, it's soothing, and but it was enough to make me get up and move.
Mhm.
Why I say that is because I can't move. But you know,
It makes you
was
want
a good song.
Mhm.
Yeah, a song I would have listened
Maddie.
Not my style.
Not your style, Jacob. Mom.
No, I wrote down good driving song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good beat.
It's a good speeding song, I felt.
Yeah.
Help the files go fast.
Boom.
Yeah.
Joe.
I forgot to write something.
It's okay. Okay.
I
Dad.
wrote empowerment.
Yeah.
It's the kind of song you listen to before you go in and have an argument.
Yeah. It is.
I love the beat. Well, no, I did not love the beat. I liked
He
the
never
beat,
argues with
but I love the bass.
Mhm.
The bass, when the bass kicked in, was fantastic. I could just listen to that bass line all day, and I thought that it was good, meaningful words.
Mhm.
Good, meaningful.
Felt like a gun.
Oh.
No, that's different.
It just felt power. So what I find very interesting, I am the Kate of the world. That is the song I'm playing when I'm like amped up and I need to get something done. But I've also heard the reaction of, this is terrible. What are you doing? Third song, Calling All Angels by Train. No Train.
I thought it was kind of, initially it was repetitive, so it puts me on edge because I feel like this is like killing my brain.
Okay. Okay.
Not my music. I actually thought the third one was more relaxing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some people find that song sad. I find that song sad.
Okay. I said so. That was the type of song that I would play on like a cold or like slow day, like something that just kind of like I don't know, creates a
Like a
comfort.
mellow
Yeah,
day.
it's a lot more mellow.
Mhm.
I did.
Nothing. Jacob was like, no.
All the same to him.
Do you not like music, Jacob?
No, he loves.
Oh, you love music.
He doesn't like my music. That's what he's getting. No, I'm kidding.
I wrote no feeling to this one.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I would choose to listen to, and it's like, yeah, when are you gonna say something different?
Mhm.
So I was kind of with Mr. Man.
That's fine. Well, that tells you how memorable it is.
Okay.
Dad.
You may know the background of that song. He's dealing with a broken relationship, trying to find what's really true love. So he's calling all the angels to help him figure this out. We have with them comfort.
Mhm.
That's an old Train.
How do you,
Old.
Jordan? How do you feel about
Song 3.
song 3?
I felt
Calling All Angels.
it felt more spiritual than the others,
Mhm.
and I liked the lyrics from that. That was just.
Okay. All right, Michael.
I forgot what I put down because I put it on the notes app and then I just
Close. So he didn't save his notes.
it's
gone.
I also forgot what it sounded like.
Okay. So we have very unmemorable. Okay, song number 4 is Faith by Skip Marley.
It's what?
Faith.
Yeah, Bob Marley.
Faith.
Yes.
Faith.
One of his songs.
Ugh.
I can feel it.
Did you guys all know these songs, by the way? Did you recognize them?
That one they didn't know.
The first
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Okay.
So this one, I didn't know the song.
Okay. Yeah, that's
But
fine.
it's a modern kind of synthesizer sound to it.
Yeah.
So I probably would have listened to it a little longer. But I had, yeah. That was it.
You might have also found it repetitive because it literally is the same thing like 3 times.
Yeah.
So, but you wouldn't have known that without listening to the whole
Yeah, I
song.
would have listened just a little longer.
songs. Okay. This is like what I would establish as like my world. Like this is
Okay.
the type of music that I generally listen to.
I would not have pegged that.
Happy, but also interesting because I like the electronic.
Yeah, I thought it was a good song. Yeah, happy.
Mhm.
You know,
Something different.
Uh,
Happy, Jacob.
Okay, what kind of music do you listen to?
I mean, I like the music.
Okay.
I put made me smile and reminded me of the movie Cool Running.
Okay.
Bob Marley.
Very specific.
So that is Bob Marley's son, Skip.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Is Bob Marley
He
the
plays
actor?
music.
Bob Marley?
Never heard of it.
Bob Marley.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Barbara Molly.
What happened?
Joey, how did you feel
That was
about
his wife, all right? No, I'm kidding.
I'm not sure I was thinking, but I forgot what I put on. Sad.
sad
Aw.
face? Okay, I'll
Which
take sad
one?
face. Yeah. That was number
Yeah,
4.
Number 4, and I skipped number 5. It's not even on the paper.
You tuned out by 5. Dad, how did you feel about 4?
Intimacy because it reminds me of something that we played in the background while you're at dinner talking about feelings with your significant other.
Okay. I can see that actually. Jordan?
Cool. I just wrote down, because I know this song, I'm familiar with it. I think that it's an easy favorite for me. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It's an easy favorite. I love the lyrics, the music, the beat, the drums. I kind of get where you're coming from with how it feels very produced, but I love the beat. I love the drums. Like, that was the only one that had such a strong drum vibe to it. And of course, it kind of sounded like a little, I don't know. It kind of sounded just like the drums. I love the drums. So anyway, yeah.
Michael, how did you feel?
I forgot what it
Okay.
Everybody has horrible memories.
It's fine.
Okay. Disproving the music and memory thing.
I know, guys, where are we going?
We need a bigger test group.
So the last song was Rest in the Father by I think his name's, hold on, it's scrolling. Yes, Stephen Stanley. Okay, and how did we feel about that one?
This is my favorite one of the set. So
Okay.
this one was like, initially, I couldn't really hear the words well, so it was based more on the music vibe. It was like searching, hopeful. That's kind of what I.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was supportive.
Okay.
But this is really, really normal from like what I would do. I thought nostalgia, and like a kind of I'm still here. Like even though something might get a little tough, you're like you're still moving.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of sad.
A little bit sad.
Your mood.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I can get behind that a little bit, yeah. Maddie. Okay. Jacob. This is the last time.
I wrote that it's sad that you're commiserating with us and almost everybody has been through, and then it leads to but wait, you're encouraged.
Yes. Yeah. Joe. Oh yeah, you didn't put anything from 5.
Unmemorable.
You got this very fast.
Sorry.
For inspiration.
Inspiration. Jordan.
I think he had a great voice. That's all I put, but I've heard it before. I think it's a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very spiritual.
Oh wait, song number 5.
5.
I said it was kind of western.
A little western. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Like it had a little bit of a like country vibe.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Okay, so according to the study that I read, to do that exercise, you have to play about a minute of a song for people to get a vibe. So I played between a minute and a minute 30 on every song, to try to get most of like a chorus in there. But thank you for participating in that exercise. And one of the things that you may have noticed is there was definitely a variety of answers as we went around the room to every song. I think that was implied that that would happen at some point, because ultimately music is very individualized to the person that's experiencing it. So, for example, we had the one song, you two were polar opposites. Which, I mean that people like music for a reason. Like they like a specific song or something, and they won't like something else for a reason. Keeping this in mind, we're going to dive back into the Bible. Okay, so all that you experienced, we're going to keep all that in mind as we dive back into the Bible and music. Okay, so like music and yourself, we have 4 themes that I'm choosing to focus on. I am going to tell you, this is not a comprehensive list of all of the ways you could look at music in the Bible. I could pull hundreds of different things that we could talk about. So I chose 4, because they are key and can be linked back to how you relate to that music. Okay? These 4 ways are emotion, message, ceremony, and worship. And we're going to look at each individually. And if you notice, the Bible verses that we talked about in the beginning have now been categorized. So I'll leave this screen up for a second because I see people writing that down.
Are those the same verses we went through?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle.
So, okay.
Then, if you notice, some of them do fall into multiple categories. So we have the psalm here and in worship, because we know what psalms are. Let me see. You have Mark falling into ceremony and worship, because that was the verse where they, at the end of the Passover service. So you have Jesus setting the ceremony for Passover, but it's also a form of worship, because what else could they be doing? And then some of them only fall into one, like in Amos. You see, that was the verse where they will not listen. He will not listen to your music anymore. Well, it's a very emotional statement. You could also put it into message, because he's telling them, I'm not going to listen. So, okay.
I'm not dealing with you. Garbage.
I'm not dealing with it anymore. Okay, so in order to look at music in the Bible, there is one life that becomes a case study for us. I chose King David. I feel like that was coming. If you didn't know that was coming, it was coming.
Picture.
In fact, if you turn to 2 Samuel 23:1, which is up on your screen, we can read, Now these be the last words of David. David the son of Jesse said, And the man who was raised on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel. Music for David, he was unequivocally linked to it through pretty much everything that he did, which makes him the perfect case study for us. So King David is the perfect example of someone who processed by writing down his emotions and turning them into something beautiful, even if the emotions he was writing were negative. King David turned his feelings into a beautiful song for us to learn from later, and through his example, music is found in the Bible, and it can be linked to those huge emotions and feelings because it's a way of expression. And not only is it a way of expression, it's healthy expression. So, I'm not saying you have to write music like David, but have you ever felt like you couldn't say something in words, but you found a song that exactly matched how you felt in that very moment? Emotions are processed through the process of creating and listening, as you learned through the ISO principle earlier. So remember, that's when you listen to a song that matches your emotion, then slowly introduce songs that you want to like feel that emotion. Okay? So through the ISO principle, we learned that we can also change our emotions. Music can help us pinpoint the emotions that we're feeling in order to help us define them in our mind. When we define our emotions, it can help us hand them over to God because we aren't meant to carry them alone. Many of the Psalms were an example of David handing those big, strong emotions to God. And our reference here is Psalm 119, 169 through 170. Yeah, you can.
May my cry come before you, Lord. Give me understanding according to your word. May my supplication come before you. Deliver me according to your promise.
So what's the technique called?
ISO principle of music, specifically. Yeah. And I can give you the study that I read. I forget what university it came out of, but it was a medical study that they did. Subsequently, so all these points are going to build on each other, just so you're aware. Subsequently, David's songs did not just have a mix of emotions that made absolutely no sense to the audience or reader, or God, because that's a lot of the times he was talking to God. His psalms and songs presented a message, whether it was a detailed description of how a battle went for Israel or praise for God, there was a clear message. For example, in 2 Samuel, we also see David's Song of Victory in chapter 22. This song described how David and Israel did in battle, as well as praising God, because he never left God out of anything. And that reads, "The waves of death were all around me, the waves of destruction rolled over me. The danger of death was around me, and the grave set its trap for me. In my trouble I called to the Lord. I called to my God for help. In his temple he heard my voice, and he listened to my cry for help." And they won the battle if you keep reading through. King David, subsequently, was not the only person that used music as a message. So in Exodus 15, we find the song of Moses and Miriam, or at least that's what my Bible calls it. This song was sung after the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea and the Egyptians were destroyed, starting with, "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted, both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea." So I'm going to ask a question. Why do you think songs held such important stories and events in them, such as the battle with David or this instance with the children of Israel?
Oral history.
And for them to remember.
Oral history.
Yes, yep. So songs were a form of communication, as many could not read and write back then. Okay? Sorry, my notes keep turning themselves. So stories and important events were passed through song in order for people to remember. Musical memory lasts much longer than our other human memories, so this was a way for events not to be lost to human history. And because of the recall of music, they were less likely to be disturbed. You're more likely to remember them correctly if it's in a song. So we
And the Hebrews or the Jews now actually would sing their Bible verses when they read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they're reading the Hebrew.
Yeah,
like when they're doing the bar mitzvah.
If you ever participate in a bar or bat mitzvah, it sounds like they're singing. It's really interesting, and it's almost melodic to the point where like you fall into like a doldrum feeling where it's like you sway to it. If it's you just go listen to it. Go listen to the Hebrew being read.
Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, have you ever played telephone? When we used to play it on the bus, we used to go to tournaments, and someone would make a sentence at one end of the bus, and by the time we got to the last person, it was completely distorted.
But you did
That
that.
would be interesting to try that with music, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Mhm.
As long as you get serious people who actually aren't changing it on purpose.
Mhm.
Like the kids.
Because that happens.
Yeah.
So we find messages passed through songs from early Bible stories to modern music. If you don't believe me, go look at the lyrics to your favorite song. There is a message in there. You can even look up what the artist thinks of their own song and what meaning they put behind it. Because they're giving you a message, and you could be greatly surprised by that message. Sometimes I've actually stopped listening to a certain song that I loved because of the message that they were trying to give in it. Yeah, a really good example is "Fireworks" by Katy Perry.
I was
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
yeah.
So her message was to the LGBTQ community,
Which is very clear in the music video.
but it's not clear in the song. So if you look at her, you might not get it if you're just listening, but you'll get it if you read her
I don't remember
message.
what the band was when we were singing.
It was me.
It was you. But they weren't allowed to sing that song.
Okay. I don't know. It was at like a concert, and we did it at the birthday.
Okay. So in building, we now have emotions, which is like a core. You have your message. So what can we use those emotions and that message to do? Ceremony. So when looking at a third way music is found in the Bible, I honestly think people overlook this one. But there's a lot of examples. So when you think of ceremony in the Bible, what do you think of? The holy days?
The trumpet.
The trumpets? Holy convocation? Do you ever think about a church service? So, based on that, you guys don't necessarily consider it a ceremony, but one could state due to the structure of a church service, it's a type of ceremony designed to praise our God and educate those following his commands. We're on a structure. We're doing it every week. God tells us to do it.
It's like Nehemiah talking about the Levites and the paid musicians on the same level.
So, with that being said, when we come to church every week, what do we start with? Hymns. There's a reason for it. Music and ceremony go hand in hand because it helps put the attendee or the leader in the right mind frame, and it is an act of worship. So when the Ark of the Covenant was returned to the people of Israel during David's reign, he assigned several people to minister to the ark. His instructions were as follows. He appointed some of the Levites to minister before the ark of the Lord to extol, thank, and praise the Lord, the God of Israel. And then it goes through what each person's supposed to do, and I will not read that because I will butcher their names. But if we pick back up here, they were to play the lyres and harps. Asaph. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't know if it was right. Asaph was to sound the cymbals, and Benaniah and Jehazel, the priests, were to blow the trumpets regularly before the Ark of the Covenant of God. And that's in 1 Chronicles 16, 4-6. Music in the capacity of ceremony has several different impacts as it depends on the ceremony being performed. In this case, it was a sign that the physical representation of God's Spirit had returned to the midst of Israel. It was a cause for celebration and worship. And if you remember, right before this, there was a catastrophe regarding the ark. And that was where you had the death of Uzzah because he dropped it. When we sing music at service, it sets the tone for our service and provides the way to open and close the service in worship. Both of these examples point to our physical and spiritual minds and bodies towards our Creator. They also motivate a change in our behavior and help us recognize who we are in the presence of. It is an auditory reminder that we are here for one reason, to recognize our God. Would the ceremony be able to continue without music? Yeah, we could do service without music, but it wouldn't be the same.
And in some cases, like Bill pointed out last week, they only have music when they have something talented enough to be able to lead it, enjoy it, and bring along the people that were not as talented.
That's why you don't see me.
And I will argue that we have enough talent in this room to do music. Okay, so and that finally brings us to the last and probably the most important point regarding music in the Bible. Music is used for the praise of our Creator God and everything that He has done for us. It's an acknowledgement of His purpose, our purpose, Jesus, the plan, and everything that points us to God. When a Christian sings praise, it should be an experience like no other. It should be with your whole body, mind, and spirit, because that song represents every emotion, thought, and feeling that you have towards God in that moment. Praise should not be taken for granted. It should not be taken lightly. And it's a ministry to the world to invite them to know our God as well as remind us who He is. It should rock you and the audience to your core. Every way that music affects you as a physical person that we covered should be reflected in the praise that we give our God, because it is a beautiful gift. Praise combines everything about biblical music, the emotion, the message, and the ceremony into one beautiful word. It is a thank you to your God for our existence, His existence, and everything that He's ever taught us. And one of my favorite verses. I will exalt you, my God, the King. I will praise your name forever and ever. Every day I will praise you and extol your name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and the most worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. And that's Psalm 145, 1 through 3. So, and I will leave you with this. I want you, as we discuss later, and I want you, as we move forward in life, to look for the purpose of music in your life. For me, it was my depression. For you, it might just be a motivator for a project. Think of the opportunities to use music and praise to our God. Let the music at church take a whole new meaning. Think of those songs that we're singing and what they mean to you and what they might mean for someone else. Think of the new hymns as an opportunity to learn and praise God in a new way. And ultimately, do not forget the importance of music in a Christian's life, as God gives and allows everything for a reason. Thank you. And if anybody would like to see my sources, they are the next slide.
You couldn't help it, huh?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. The next slide.
Well done.
Ta-da! I didn't put them in Chicago style. I thought about it.
I got a question. So Kate, isn't there that Revelation 5 isn't there a song we sang that was about that? A praise song? Worthy of the Lamb.
Worthy is the Lamb is the name of the song.
Revelation what?
5:9.
Isn't that the
Was
subject
it special
of it?
music or?
Well, it was kind of special music. It's, her aunt did. Well, she did too.
It's an alto piece, if I remember.
Anyway, I see that one.
Oh yeah,
It's like a praise music. I see that as a praise section. It's not
that's
just
the one that we did this week. Are you talking about every tribe, tongue, and nation? Because that one was.
That's the one we did with.
Oh, I don't know. That's that one. And then worthy of the Lamb? What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say there's a praise piece to this, not just a message. It's like there's more to it.
Mhm.
It's a pretty powerful song. I'm trying to think what it's called. It's the one that we did in Missouri, Branson. Anyway, never mind. You can think of it.
My hippocampus is remembering this song.
I think
Did I get that
It
word
was
right?
done
Yeah.
at Branson.
Mom's hippocampus is working.
so. I know, like in college, right? You know, I used to always play a song before I took take a big exam.
Mhm.
Like, so that kind of get
So believe it or not.
eye of the tiger.
Yeah.
Oh.
That tells me that that's what I need to do.
Yes.
That's a bunch of songs I got, play Eye of the Tiger, and then go do something.
And then you'd go take your exam. So you're all like,
See, that song for me has actually hit me more, which you don't like. So see, there you go. Back to the music is very unique to the individual. I have listened to that before I went into an argument, before I went into an exam, before I broke up with a boyfriend. It was great. See?
Before you go into an interview.
That one?
The last 2 months of my job that I was tired of before I picked up the new job as a revenue officer was I'm a leaving on, I don't know the title, because you know I don't remember titles. I'm a leaving on a jet plane.
Oh,
That thing
yeah.
staying through my head the entire time.
Uh,
I like walk to the bathroom, with it running through my head. Yeah.
well, on that note, we can continue this discussion after, but Kate, do you want to come to